My name is Silas, and for most of my adult life, I've served in the Army. I've seen sandstorms that could skin your face, heard the whistle of mortar fire before it hits, and slept with one eye open in more countries than I care to remember. But nothing prepared me for what happened back home. Before deployment, my wife, Emily, hugged me at the airport with the same kind of embrace you give a friend at a reunion, not a husband leaving for 6 months in a conflict zone. I chalked it up to stress. Her eyes were dry, mine weren't. "Stay safe," she said. "I always do," I replied, though my gut twisted the moment I said it. I'd just deposited my last paycheck into our joint account the day before, around $18,000, saved up from training bonuses and deployment incentives. We were finally planning to put a down payment on a house when I got back. Or at least, that's what I thought. Emily had been distant lately. New phone passcodes, more me time, therapy sessions she never talked about. I never pressed. Figured deployment was hard on her too. Figured trust meant not asking every time she disappeared for an hour with her phone. 2 weeks into the deployment, I still hadn't heard from her. No emails, no calls, not even a reply to my birthday message. That wasn't like her, not even close. But I told myself maybe she was overwhelmed. Maybe she just needed space. But then I got a weird alert. Not from her, from our bank. It said, "Your account ending in 3372 has a balance of $0.13. My hands froze on the phone. $18,000. Gone. I logged into the app. The transaction history showed multiple transfers, same amount, spaced days apart. $2,500, $3,000, $1,200. Not to anyone I recognized, just an account labeled D. Walker. I didn't know a D. Walker, and none of the charges looked like bills or necessities. Boutique hotels, spa treatments, a jeweler in Scottsdale. That night, I didn't sleep, and that was just the beginning. The next morning, I skipped chow and called my bank from the base's comm center. The connection crackled, but the message came through clear. Emily had withdrawn everything, not just from our joint checking, but from our savings too. Even the emergency fund I set up after my second tour, almost $32,000 in total. Gone. And the worst part, she'd authorized a name change on the account. My name was still listed, but hers had been moved to primary holder. Legally, she had access. Morally, that was another story. I felt the blood drain from my face. My battle buddy Ortiz, who'd been shaving next to me, glanced over and asked, "You good, man?" I lied, said it was just some bills, but my stomach twisted with the kind of nausea no combat zone ever gave me. Back in my bunk, I opened up our shared cloud storage. I wasn't even snooping, just needed to find a tax document I'd scanned months ago. But what I found instead knocked the air out of me. A photo folder labeled "Private, Do Not Open." I clicked. There she was, Emily, in a dress I'd never seen before, kissing someone on the cheek, at a dinner table. Champagne flutes, candles, fancy restaurant. The guy's arm was around her. And it wasn't just any guy. It was my cousin, Brandon. I blinked, thinking it had to be old, but the metadata didn't lie. 2 days ago, timestamp and geotagged in our hometown. While I was eating powdered eggs in a desert, Emily was playing house with my blood, and she didn't even try to hide it. I couldn't sleep that night, not from the heat or the constant hum of generators, but from rage. I laid in my bunk, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment in my head. The missed calls, the shorter replies, the time she said, "Brandon stopped by to check on the house. How kind of him. What a great family man."
The next day, I called Brandon's number. No answer. So I texted, "Hope you're taking good care of her." No reply. That silence said everything. I waited until our next break and used the base computer to log into my social media. Emily had deactivated her account. Brandon, still active. His latest post was a picture from a backyard BBQ. Emily beside him, her hand on his chest, wearing the necklace I gave her before deployment. Caption: starting fresh, blessed beyond words. Blessed. I felt like a joke. That night, I confided in Ortiz. He listened quietly, then asked me a question I hadn't considered. "What's your move now, Silas?" I didn't have an answer. Not yet. But I knew one thing: if I stayed quiet, they'd get away with everything. The money, the lies, the home I worked for, the trust I built, and I wasn't gonna let that happen.
When I was promoted to sergeant, my commanding officer said something that stuck with me. A good soldier doesn't react emotionally. He moves with intent. That night, I moved with intent. I contacted my lawyer back home, a retired Marine named Carter, who owed me a favor. I gave him everything: account numbers, property documents, even Emily's social security number. Told him I needed to know what she had touched and what could be salvaged. While I waited for a reply, I began compiling evidence. Every withdrawal, every message, every date-stamped photo Brandon posted online. 2 days later, Carter messaged me. They moved fast. House is listed for sale. Brandon's name is on the account now. How? The power of attorney I signed before deployment. She used it to add him, to access everything, to wipe us clean while I was gone. I felt sick, but Carter wasn't done. Good news. She forged a few things. There's leverage here. That was the crack in their armor I needed. I wasn't just going to confront them. I was going to bury them in their own choices, but I couldn't do it from the desert. I requested emergency leave. The base commander asked if it was family related. I looked him in the eye and said, "It's about protecting what's left of mine." He signed the papers without another word. My flight landed just past midnight. The air was cold, but the storm inside me was colder. I didn't call anyone. No welcome home party. I checked into a cheap motel under a fake name, just my military duffel bag and a burning resolve. By morning, I met Carter at a corner diner. He slid a folder across the table, steam rising from his black coffee. Brandon is listed as co-owner now, but here's the thing, he signed with your name. Forgery, I said flatly. Carter nodded. Exactly. Also, she tried to withdraw your retirement account. Got blocked because it needs a wet signature. So not everything was lost. That afternoon, I drove past the house. My old truck was gone, but Brandon's rusty pickup was in the driveway. New curtains in the window, a wine bottle on the porch railing. Carter placed a hand on my shoulder. If you go in now, it gets messy. We stick to the plan. I just need to see it. With my own eyes, I murmured. I circled around the block and came up the back fence, peered through the sliding glass door. They were inside. Brandon sprawled on my recliner, wearing one of my shirts. Emily laughing in the kitchen. Her laugh. God, it used to light up my world. Now it burned. But I didn't storm in. I didn't yell. I memorized that scene, because next time I'd walk through that door, I'd have a sheriff and a court order. I turned to Carter. Let's bury them, legally.
We filed everything by noon the next day. Fraud, forgery, unauthorized transfer of military benefits. Carter didn't just know the law, He wielded it like a blade. "This isn't just divorce," he said. "This is theft, identity fraud. And she did it while you were deployed. That's federal territory." By Wednesday, a judge had frozen all joint accounts and property transactions. Brandon's name was flagged. Emily was served. She didn't call me, but Brandon did. He left a voicemail, slurred and smug. "You should have stayed overseas, bro. Emily's happier now. And the house? It's ours. Accept it." I didn't reply. I sent the voicemail to Carter. "That's intimidation," he said. "He just handed us leverage." I started sleeping again. Not peacefully, but deeper. Like a soldier knowing the plan is in motion. That weekend, I visited my mom's grave. Sat in the grass and just talked. I tried, Ma. I loved her. I never saw it coming. A breeze passed through the trees. It didn't give me answers, but it reminded me I wasn't completely alone.
The courtroom wasn't as dramatic as the movies make it. No slamming gavels, no shouted objections, just papers, cold, clinical voices, and eyes that refused to meet mine. Emily looked thinner, nervous. She clutched Brandon's arm like it was the only solid thing in the room. Brandon looked bored. When Carter laid out the charges, fraudulent signatures, VA account access, unauthorized withdrawals, Emily blinked fast. Brandon smirked. Until the bank video played. There he was, Brandon, walking into the branch, forging my name on a withdrawal slip. Security footage caught it all. He leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, but his foot tapped fast. Then came the messages, hundreds of them. Carter had subpoenaed their shared phone data. Brandon to Emily. "He'll be in sand for months. Let's drain it before he comes back." Emily, "We deserve this. He's never home. He chose duty over us." My stomach turned, not from heartbreak that had already burned out, but from the weight of deliberate betrayal. Emily couldn't even look up. Brandon. He finally stopped smirking. The judge's voice cut through. "This isn't just a messy divorce. This is criminal fraud perpetrated against a deployed serviceman. There will be consequences." And for the first time in months, I felt something like relief. After the hearing, I didn't say a word to Emily, not when she cried on the steps, not when she mouthed, "I'm sorry." Brandon got 3 years, not for love, for fraud. Emily got probation, restitution, and the permanent stain of public court records. That seemed fair to me. I wasn't out for revenge, just truth. I sold the house. Too many memories in the drywall. Used the money to move to Colorado, a place with space, silence, and mountains. I joined a veterans nonprofit, helping guys adjust after deployment. Guys like me, trying to rebuild from rubble. Sometimes I get letters, one from Brandon. "I regret nothing. You were always blind." I burned it without reading the rest. One from Emily, 2 months later. A longer one. Regret, shame, the whole script. I didn't reply. You can't talk your way back into someone's soul once you've sold it off. Now I live in a cabin at the edge of a forest, dog named Bishop, a porch that catches morning sun. I don't think about the betrayal every day, just sometimes in quiet moments when the wind carries memory like dust. But I'm okay now because I survived, because I built something no one can steal this time. Not a marriage, not a house, just peace. And that is mine.